with philosophy. So I think it's very mysterious. The model that I use for all of these psychedelics is a mathematical model, not a psychological model or a spiritual model, but a mathematical model. Mind, under the pressure of evolution, under the pressure of the need to defend self and offspring, has folded itself down into the three-dimensional space-time matrix of the body. Mind has crippled itself in order to caretake the body and the here and now. Well, when you take these psychedelics, it's like it's severed. The mind is severed from the physical envelope, and you wander in a much larger dimension, and it is literally a higher dimensional manifold. And that's how these apparently miraculous and magical things, that's why the shaman can see into a human body, because in a higher dimension, the inside and the outside are the same place. There is no distinction. So it's an inner sensorium that has a higher dimensional character to it. It's a great mystery, it doesn't need to detain us here, but it's a great mystery, the relationship of consciousness to number and of nature to number. After all, nature is nature, the deployed three-dimensional physical world in its dynamic. Numbers are abstractions generated, so far as we know, only by the human mind. They are inventions of the human mind. And yet nothing is as descriptive of nature. No tool is as powerful a descriptor of nature as mathematics. Why is this? Well, ayahuasca seems to say it's because the higher mathematical dimensions of the world are objects not merely for abstract deductive discovery, but for experiential encounter. And then if this is true, then our world as we experience it in the here and now and day to day is hopelessly limited and circumscribed. And this is, a very limited world that we're operating in, inside our culture, inside our language, inside our body, and so forth and so on. And in the silence, in the darkness, swept away by these alien alkaloids and the plant mind behind them, you find out a truth that can barely be told. And most of it can't be told. Yeah.
What about your sense of self and
in the ayahuasca thing?
Yeah, and the ego in general.
Well, I think that these things are very humbling. It's very hard to do if you have an ego that's very. If you're, for instance, if you're the kind of person that other people consider a jackass, it's pretty hard to do these things if other people's judgment on you is correct. The person who can dominate a noisy bar is not probably a good candidate for ayahuasca therapy. That kind of bravado and machismo and ayahuasca loves to take prideful people and rub their nose in it. It can make you beg for mercy like nothing. You have to really approach it humbly. I speak from experience because I probably am easily betrayed into assuming I know what I'm doing, and that's the moment when catastrophe strikes. And what I always say to it when I go into it is I say, I'm going to take a big dose, so please don't kill me. Here I am, I'm yours, I surrender, I hold nothing back, I didn't cut the dose, I didn't water the tea, so please don't kill me. And then it usually responds by not killing you, if it so amuses it. Right? But, you can't demand it. The real bad trips come when you try to put the squeeze on it. When you try to force a piece of information.
And actually, see, that's the difference also in the cultural context of ayahuasca. In many areas where there's been a lot of social disruption, the community, the roads, or hundreds of years of missionary influence, and what still remains in the ayahuasca culture is that the people always drink it with some kind of intense either to heal someone or to send a dart to spell to kill someone or something. They don't just take it just to completely just surrender themselves in the lake. Well, they do too, during the initiation and stuff. But once they, the shamans, I guess, or even a lot of the young people, really, they'll just take it with something in mind. Of course, there's exceptions. So the difference with that is that a lot of times, you hear a lot of weird stories about young upstart shamans that have a lightning bolt tap them or a tree fall or something like that. And there's a lot of weird black magic that goes on too, because a lot of people just don't handle themselves to, so a lot of deaths are attributed to ayahuasca, either through black magic or.
And I think a lot of shamans they like to just graze the underbelly of the thing. They're really concerned about their community and healing sick people and holding it all together. It's an exceptional personality in any society, Amazonian or urban American, who is a go for the gusto kind of person who just wants to get as loaded as they possibly can. I mean, this shaman that I studied with in Peru, the ayahuasca that we would take on Saturday nights of touring would be only about 2/3 as strong, and then every Wednesday night we would take it, just he and a couple of other people. He said this was our school, he said. This is when we learn. On Saturday nights we cure the people, but on Wednesday nights, we plunge to the depth. And it was a much more intense, quiet, inward kind of driving in those situations.
So if we took ayahuasca on a Wednesday, we'd be having simultaneous experiences with folks down there.
Quite so. Every Wednesday.
Probably any day of the week.
Any day of the week, somebody is loaded.
Terence, how would you compare the nature of reality or perceived reality under ayahuasca and under mushrooms?
Well, the thing about psilocybin that is so extraordinary, and I think enough people have experienced this now that we can make a generalization about it, the mushrooms talk. They speak to you in your native tongue and at conversational speed, and it's, the damnedest thing. Until it happens to you, you can't imagine what somebody could be talking about. Once it happens to you, you know exactly what they mean. The mushroom is animate and articulate and also kind of extraterrestrial. Its hallucinations tend to the grandiose, the history-ending, the galactarian destiny that awaits the biological overmind. It's this ta-da, ta-da kind of thing. Ayahuasca is biological and organic, and you feel the spirit of the forest, like Rosia said. It's more feminine, and after a good ayahuasca trip, you feel like your eyes are just bugging out of your head because you've spent so much time looking. The language of ayahuasca is visual. It shows you and shows you and shows you and shows you, and once this showing gets going, it's hard to shut it off. I mean, it really wants to show, but it's silently, it spills out this cornucopia of images, and you sing and you manipulate them.